The dawn broke gently that day, the sky a soft cascade of pastels that seemed to whisper promises of serenity and joy. Much like any other morning, I sat on my prayer mat, letting the rhythmic cadence of the far prayer flow through me, a balm for the soul. Each word, familiar and calming, felt like a bridge to something greater, something sacred. Yet, beneath the recitation, a subtle disquiet stirred, a yearning I couldn't quite place, an echo of questions without answers. The house was already a symphony of life. I could hear my children laughing as they dashed through the hallway, their footsteps a vibrant staccato. My husband was humming a tune in the shower, an off-key melody that never failed to make me smile. And yet, amidst this warm chaos, my heart felt a ripple, a gentle tug towards something beyond the daily grind, beyond the rituals that define my faith. What is it that I'm seeking? I wondered, pushing the thought aside as I rose to meet the demands of breakfast and school preparations. But the question lingered like the scent of spices in the air, persistent and alluring. As the day unfolded, a sense of foreboding interlaced with the mundane. Every sound, every sensation was heightened. The whistle of the kettle, the clatter of dishes, the soft click of my husband's briefcase. It was as if the day were whispering secrets just out of reach. A nameless urgency filled me, threading through every chore, every interaction. When evening came, the skies had turned a brooding gray. Rain tapped against the windows in a soothing rhythm that belied the turmoil within me. It was supposed to be a simple errand, a quick trip across town to collect my daughter's favorite book. Left behind at a friend's, a gesture of maternal love, a way to end the day on a note of comforting normalcy. But as I stepped into the car, a shiver of unease ran through me. I shook it off, attributing it to the chill of the rain. The engine hummed to life, and as tires whispered against wet asphalt, an inexplicable weariness settled over me. Am I ready to face more of life's chaos? I wondered, gripping the wheel a little tighter. It was more than just fatigue. It was the weight of uncertainty, the whisper of spiritual restlessness. I inhaled deeply, hoping to shake the sensation, and focused instead on the road ahead. Yet, as the city lights flickered past like ephemeral ghosts, doubt continued to coil around me. What was it that I truly believed? What lay beyond the horizon of everything I knew? In the solitude of the car, these questions found a voice, resonating within me even louder than before. Is there more to divine love than what I understand? I silently pondered, the question both daunting and exhilarating. Unbeknownst to me, this was the calm before the storm, a moment suspended, poised on the precipice of a journey that would shatter and remake my understanding of faith and love. Little did I know that soon, these questions would be answered in ways beyond mortal comprehension, with a clarity and compassion that would forever change the fabric of my existence. As the rain cascaded down in a steady cadence, I maneuvered the car through the glistening streets of the city, the windshield wipers battling to maintain clarity, a futile effort against the relentless downpour. Each swipe felt like a heartbeat, steady and insistent, echoing the turmoil within me. The world outside blurred into streaks of light and shadow, the vibrancy of neon signs reflecting surreal patterns on the wet road. It was like driving through a dreamscape, each moment slipping into the next, infused with this strange, unshakable apprehension wound tightly in my chest. I turned the radio on, hoping for distraction, but the chatter was distant, unintelligible. My thoughts spiraled, an unending loop of questions, dancing just beyond the realm of comprehension. Why this restlessness? I mused, glancing at my hands, white-knuckled on the steering wheel. There was a tug, an almost gravitational pull towards introspection that I found both uncomfortable and irresistible. As I crossed an intersection, a sudden image flashed in my mind, my daughter's joyful face, laughing as she spun in the sunlight of our backyard. A vision of pure, unguarded love. It filled me with warmth, yet was immediately overshadowed by a cold certainty that my life, as it stood, hinged so much on faith and ritual, yet missed an underlying depth I couldn't quite grasp. Am I missing something in my faith? I wondered aloud, the rain's rhythm a counterpoint to my voice, lost in the confines of the car's interior. But no answer came, only silence, raining as I drove onward through the night. It was then, as if taunting my introspection, that I saw them, a pair of headlights cutting through the fog of rain, approaching at an unthinkable speed. Time dilated, the world tilting on its axis as the threat barreled towards me, relentlessly closing the distance. Instinct screamed at me to react, but my body was caught in that suspended moment where thought and action refused to meet. Impact. The sound was visceral, a cacophony of metal and glass, reality shattering like a mirror struck by a hammer. The car spun wildly, a helpless dance underlined by the scream of tires on wet asphalt. Pain flared, a white-hot fire that consumed, then dissolved, leaving me in darkness, weightless, timeless. But it was a darkness that didn't claim me. Rather, it cradled me. I drifted from my body, an observer trapped in a state of surreal detachment. There below me, amidst the twisted wreckage, lay my form, unmoving, fragile amidst the chaos. Yet here, in this ephemeral space, I was unharmed, released from the confines of my mortal flesh and the torment of uncertainty. Peace seeped into my consciousness, a gentle balm soothing the tumult that had filled the moments before the crash. My thoughts quieted, replaced by an immense, encompassing love, a love that touched every part of my being, erasing fear, doubt, and pain. And then there was light. It began softly, a distant glow that beckoned with unparalleled warmth and the promise of understanding. As it grew, so too did the realization of being drawn into something infinitely larger than myself, something breathtaking in its simplicity, a sense of belonging. The light enveloped me, drawing me into its embrace, and with it came a voice, not with words, but a knowing. Child, you are not alone, it conveyed, a message as profound as it was gentle. Love knows no bounds, it seemed to say, nor is it confined by the labels and limits mortals place upon it. In this sacred moment, I sensed a familiar presence mingling with the light, a being of such compassion and clarity that my soul quaked, yet rejoiced, recognizing Jesus in essence, if not in preconception. Every belief, every question, and every fear was laid bare and answered in that radiant oneness. I was granted vision beyond sight, an awareness of truths where no boundaries existed, only infinite threads connecting all. In this boundless realm of love, I saw that no faith, no creed could claim exclusivity over divine love and mercy. As the light began to recalibrate, drawing me back from its depth, a quiet lament unfurled within me, a wish to remain, to dwell in that purity forever. What returned I was, like a leaf drifting down gently in the breeze to rejoin the earth. Slowly, hesitantly, my consciousness was woven back into the mortal coil, and my eyes fluttered open to gaze upon a reality forever changed. As the world shattered around me, collapsing into a cacophony of twisted metal and splintered glass, I felt the strangest sensation, a simultaneous fusion and fission of self. Time wavered as if reluctant to resume its relentless march. Each second expanded, each inhalation stretched like molasses across my perception. Then came the silence. It was not an absence of sound, but a presence, a vastness that enveloped me as I felt myself gently extracted from the wreckage, not by physical means, but by something ineffable, something ethereal. Below, the scene unfolded like a surreal painting, splattered with intensity and chaos. My body, once the singular vessel of my consciousness, lay crumpled amidst the crumpled car, a grim testament to the fragility of human form. Yet here, in this suspended state, I existed apart, a silent spectator to the unfolding drama that had been my life. I am not dead, I thought, bemused yet oddly detached, as the realization washed over me like a soft wave lapping at a sunlit shore. I am beyond. This discovery brought with it an unexpected tranquility, an all-encompassing peace that unfurled slowly, gently, undeterred by the tumult below. The pain, the fear, the confusion dissipated like morning mist yielding to the dawn, replaced by a most profound serenity. It was a peace deeper and more immense than any I'd known through meditation or prayer. And then I saw it, a light more luminous than the brightest sun, yet comforting, a beacon drawing me forward through the darkness. It began as a gentle glow, a whisper of its true brilliance, inviting me with an assurance that defied logic yet felt utterly right. With each moment, the light intensified, unfurling across my consciousness, suffusing me with its warmth. It resonated not through words but through emotion, a current of love cascading over me and through me, deeper and softer than I thought possible. The love was infinite and complex, as if each beam of light was a story, a truth, an answer to questions I had long ceased to voice. Do I deserve this? I wondered, guilt flaring briefly, an instinctive resistance to such boundless compassion. But that doubt, too, was swept away in the light's embrace, a mere shadow dispelled by its glow. As I drifted closer, I discerned another presence in that radiant sphere, a figure formed not of form, clothed not in flesh nor fiber, but in raw, unending compassion. It was Jesus. The recognition was immediate and unbidden. His essence was undeniable, a being of immeasurable grace and kindness, whose existence transcended all barriers of faith and creed I had held. His presence resonated within me, not as a contradiction to my beliefs, but an extension of them, a richer tapestry woven into the core fabric of faith. Child of Earth, you are not alone, he conveyed, the message clear in the melding of thought and presence. I understood then, a revelation so powerful that I trembled, even in this incorporeal state, that the force binding all was love. No religion, no dogma could claim dominion over this truth, which was as boundless as creation itself. I was shown, not a specific path, but a vision, a profound understanding of the interconnectedness of all life, of humanity itself. I saw souls linked by invisible threads of kindness and understanding, each action rippling through eternity. It was a truth that abolished separation, illuminating a universal kinship only touched upon within the constraints of human language and tradition. Yet, despite the undeniability of this connection, a part of me ached with sorrow. The light began to retract slowly, urging me gently back toward the terrestrial, the tangible reality I was a part of. There was a lament in my soul, a sweet longing to remain forever in this divine embrace, but the knowing voice whispered to me one more final truth: you must return. Reluctantly, with a deep breath that seemed to pull the universe inside me, I felt myself descending, my essence reweaving into the mortal shell below. The fracture became whole, the dawn eclipsing the night, and my eyelids flickered open upon a world irrevocably altered by the love and light that had drawn me into its sacred fold. As the world outside slipped beyond the confines of what I knew, I was drawn, almost irresistibly, toward a light whose presence defied description. It was more than illumination. It was essence, a living entity of purity and warmth. Each ray was a balm, immersing me in comfort and inviting the deepest parts of my soul to emerge from the shadows it had hidden in for too long. A part of me felt exposed, yet there was no shame here, only acceptance. Hovering in this radiant tranquility, I felt a pull at the core of my being, calling me further into the brilliance. It was not demanding. It was inviting, a gentle suggestion that felt like the most profound command. There was a sound now, a music that wasn't heard but felt. It was the universe's own lullaby, resonating through every fiber of my existence, and I surrendered to its gravity, allowing myself to be drawn into the heart of light and love. The figure appeared, an ethereal silhouette that seemed both familiar and extraordinary. Without words, I recognized him, Jesus, as depicted in countless stories, yet more real, more present than any description. His eyes, luminous and wise, were beacons of deep understanding and compassion, and though I had known him through the lens of another faith here, in this sacred realm, he was not a contradiction but a convergence. Am I worthy to be here? The question erupted spontaneously within me, a flicker of doubt coloring the edges of my peace. Draped in humility, I wondered if someone like me, with flaws and fears, could truly belong in such perfection. He watched me with serene understanding, dissolving my anxiety with a glance that spoke louder than words ever could. The silence that had once been so overwhelming was now a conversation, a direct communion between souls, and the answers came as naturally as a bird's flight. He spoke not of judgment, but of connection, wrapping my spirit in a blanket stitched from love itself. Suddenly, I understood what my heart had long sought, a love not bound by the divisions I knew on earth, but an infinite unity that encircled all of creation. In this place, there was no them or us, no lines of separation. I was shown the web of existence, a tapestry where each thread mattered, each life interconnected with another. Souls appeared, bright with the luminescence of their unique journeys, each one vital, each purpose divine. It was revelation without language, understanding without instruction, a moment of pure enlightenment that set my soul alight. Live this truth, the message resonated within me. Carry this love back to those who have forgotten its boundless nature. But a twinge of longing threatened the tranquil embrace of this knowledge. The thought of leaving this sanctuary, this newfound kinship, tugged at me, creating an ache that resonated with such depth my soul wept at the thought. I wanted, no, needed, to remain here, cocooned within the unconditional acceptance that had eluded me in the realm of the living. Yet the light began to recede, with a gentleness matched by a quiet firmness, urging me toward the path I was reluctant to tread. Your journey continues. The voice as soft as a whisper of the wind, yet as potent as a tidal wave, reminded me of my earthly duties, the threads left untied in the life I momentarily moved beyond. With one last look, I turned inward, gathering the ethereal energies of love and empowerment, mentally threading them into the fabric of my heart as a keepsake of this divine engagement. Reluctantly, the bond with this luminous sphere began to stretch, guiding me back into the density of the world below. My descent was not a fall, but a gentle landing, as if the universe itself cradled my passage. And so, into the vessel of flesh and bone I was guided, the reconciliation of spirit and body like the dawn forming at the horizon of a long and transformative night. As my eyelids fluttered open, the hospital light seemed pale in comparison to the brilliance I had left but carried within. The tranquility of that sacred encounter stayed with me, undimmed by earthly shadow, and although my mortal senses felt renewed confusion, my spirit remained imbued with purpose, forever touched by the realm of love and light. In that moment, nestled within the radiant embrace of the light, my very essence felt exposed yet unashamed, like a flower unfurling in the warmth of spring after a harsh winter. A wave of tranquility enveloped me, each minute particle of what I was absorbing the quiet but infinite wisdom that the universe had been whispering all along. Here time had no hold, and the idea of returning seemed as impossible as it was undesirable. How could I leave this revelation? How could I walk away from the truth that had painted itself with strokes of love and unity across my soul? Within this incandescent sanctuary, Jesus, transcending the constructs of creed, stood before me, more real and more profound than any figure I had known. His presence resonated through my spirit, dispelling the deepest roots of my doubts, fortifying them with understanding rather than ignoring their presence. Silence was our language, a tapestry of thoughts and feelings that communicated in ways words could never capture. Is it truly my place to be here? I ventured, my heart a storm of humility and hope. This realm felt like home, yet the unblemished perfection around me led to an echo of uncertainty, a shadowy figment of unworthiness tugging at the edges of my being. He responded without voice, his countenance shimmering with unerring love and acceptance. Understanding flowed between us, a current as ancient as time itself, reaffirming what I had always suspected but never dared to believe, that love is the binding force, unfettered by the walls we so frequently erect in our human naivety. Each shared moment with his compassionate gaze reinforced that our hardships and divisions are far removed from the essence of what and who we are. As his message solidified within me, images began to dance within the luminescent mist surrounding us. The interconnectedness of life, an intricate weave of individual destinies and collective purposes, unfurled in dazzling clarity. Souls, familiar and new, glimmered with purpose, each stitch vital to the grand tapestry of existence. I felt the edges of my consciousness expand to embrace their dancing lights, reveling in the beauty of their diverse journeys and faded intersections. You must carry this memory of boundless love back, reverberated the essence of his presence. The ethereal command rooted itself in my being, an indelible part of who I was now becoming. Yet the notion of returning to the corporeal plane wrenched at my soul, a child being pulled reluctantly from a comforting embrace. The thought of leaving this sanctified state was abhorrent, a transient momentary loss colliding with eternal gain. I clung to the light, desperate to stay within the encompassing arms of divine understanding, fearful of the dull reality that awaited me beyond the realm of enlightened truth. But the light was patient. It understood the reluctance, offering solace in the certainty that paths unfinished in the earthly coil needed my attention. Jesus' employment of silent dialogue soothed the upheaval within, the wisdom of ages imparting itself calmly, reminding me of duties unfinished, of bonds requiring repair, of love needing to be shared in the world I had once inhabited. Slowly, with overwhelming tenderness, my soul was guided back. I inwardly gathered the stardust of enlightenment and love, sewing them into the garment of my existence as talismans to guide me on my journey, a journey I now understood as both a calling and a gift. Reluctance transformed into acceptance, acceptance into a newfound resoluteness. Descending was akin to being wrapped in a gravity-defying caress, the light twining with my essence net-like, ensuring an unhindered transition into the physical shell that awaited me. I returned paradoxically heavy but buoyant, awareness wide open, as though I'd acquired new senses during the journey back. My eyes opened to the sterile white halo of the hospital room, the artificial illumination a pale imitation of the glory I had witnessed. The room was quiet save for the rhythmic beeping of machines, a gentle anchor tethering me to life's tangible side. Despite the remnants of confusion that crept into my reawakened heart, my spirit glowed with purpose, the divine encounter singing its perpetual melody through my soul. A single truth remained undeniable. This earthly life, filled with the trials and triumphs of human existence, was imbued with a celestial purpose, one that transcends from within to form bridges across divides, to rediscover and embody love in its most potent form. The light I had once feared to leave now resided within me, an eternal companion as I faced the world anew. The return was not as simple as waking. It was like being torn from a beautiful dream, the remnants of which linger on the periphery of your mind, just out of reach. As I lay in a hospital, the dim room felt alien, a world stripped of the brilliance I just left. The artificial glow murmured against my senses, a far cry from the warm, all-encompassing embrace of the light. Yet, within me glowed an ember of that love, still bright and defiant against the shadows of doubt flickering at the edges of my renewed consciousness. The doctor's voice pierced the fog, dragging me back to the here and now. "You're lucky to be alive," he said, his face marked by equal parts relief and bewilderment. I nodded, but didn't dare mention that it wasn't luck but a decision from a divine realm that had brought me back. Words failed me, even as I contrived futilely to encapsulate the profundity of what I'd experienced. How could I communicate the ineffable? As days turned to weeks, I grappled with a new duality, the tangible world with its demands and trivialities, and the vast, loving truth that had been woven into my essence. I felt like a stranger in my own life, the mundane tasks of daily living tinged with newfound insignificance. My family gathered around, their presence a comfort, but their eyes reflected a confusion that mirrored mine. I longed to share my truth with them, to bring them into the light I'd touched. Yet every attempt stumbled. Words fluttered but fell flat, like paper birds against a wall of skepticism. At first, it seemed like a vision I would start, but as I talked of encountering Jesus in a realm bathed in love, skepticism filled their eyes. They listened, but their masks of patient understanding only deepened my isolation. How could I expect them to believe when my own faith had been shaken and sculpted anew by what I'd seen? Internally, my thoughts spiraled. Had it been real? Was it merely a fabrication of a desperate mind clinging to life? Yet, the message was undeniable, the unifying love, the binding fabric of existence. In moments of solitude, I close my eyes and retreat inward, seeking the peace that had enveloped me in that ethereal expanse. Bear witness. I would remind myself of Jesus' silent directive, the message that transcended language. I had returned for a reason. Perhaps, transformed by the experience, I was meant to embody that love, to let actions speak where words faltered, to be a living testament rather than a preacher. It was a heavy calling to carry alone, a lightness that bore its own weight, but each hesitant step forward felt like a prayer manifesting beyond mere words. The struggle lay in surrendering to faith that simply by living authentically and embracing this love, its truth would resonate without need for explanation. Each interaction, mundane as it seemed, was now imbued with a silent promise, every glance a chance for connection, every word an opportunity to reflect the boundless love I had witnessed. As I forged this new path, I found allies in unexpected places, souls who glimpsed the divine in their silent revolutions, who understood without spoken confirmations. It was among these fellow seekers that I found solace, each of us reflecting the light we'd encountered in our own lives, our stories harmonizing in sacred synchronicity. Where once isolation flourished, community grew, a testament that love, when truly piercing the soul, births connections beyond comprehension. In this, I've discovered my purpose. The bridges I was meant to build weren't monumental but intimate and personal, spanning distances between hearts. And as I navigated the terrain of belief and doubt, the light within illuminated the way, infusing each moment, each encounter with the resonance of divine love. This journey, begun with a crash and transcended into revelation, continues endless, ceaseless, a reflection of the eternal light that has forever altered the course of my faith and existence.